welcome back to Mailbag.
Oh, boy.
Episode where we...
Everybody's favorite. Everyone loves a mailbag.
It's the mailbag truck. It's the mailbag truck. Honk. The children run out into the road. It's the mailbag. Hooray.
Wait, which is the one that everybody really likes? Is it the mailbag or is it the bonus one? Where we like...
No, people love this one.
Yeah,
people love the mailbag,
so-
but they hate the bonus one.
Reading the mailbag, I was going over it this morning. I had some queued up for an old mailbag. I don't think we ever did, but I found some newer ones. I would say around a third of the emails I've had in the last couple of weeks have been complaints about the rating things episodes that we did.
Not complaints, comments.
No, literal complaints.
Right, like what? Like ranging from what? You've piqued my interest. I want to know.
Well, for example, this is just an example. This is from Tom. Hello, Tom here. Just finished listening to the Triforce bonus episode released this week. As such, my big up of the year goes to whoever came up with the idea, and then he leaves a big gap, of putting that behind a paywall initially to save everyone else from it. God bless Piran and Sips for staying awake the whole time. It's got to be difficult coming up with a theme that makes three lads with such an abundance of charm and wit sound like they're trying to draw blood from a stone block.
Oh my God.
Tom went hard, and he is not alone.
Holy shit, he went in there.
He did. He went in there.
I take it this is relating back to the favorite Minecraft block episode, right? It's got to be.
Yeah.
So maybe let's not do another favorite Minecraft block episode, or just an idea. Maybe we could do one annually. You know, like it'll be like Festivus for the rest of us. You know, do an annual favorite block in Minecraft. It might change every year. You know, you might have a new favorite.
People complained that the crafting table wasn't in there. That was quite a big one. I think there was even a thread about it on the subreddit.
Right.
And I didn't think that was a block because you had to make it, right? Like you have to make. I thought we were talking raw blocks.
It is.
Either way,
it is a block. It is definitely a block.
Everything in Minecraft is a block. I don't know.
But
if
you can't
noticed.
find it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But you could place it in the world and step on it. I think that's the qualifier, right?
Okay. I'm just saying. I thought the whole deal was that it was the raw elements of Minecraft. But look, let's not open that can of worms again.
You guys were not into that anyway. That was a bad choice by me. I thought you would be more interested.
Do you know what? It was fine. Honestly, it was fine.
They got better. People really liked them as they. That we have to find our feet sometimes. I
actually really liked the concept, but because Flax was so not into it, I just sort of like I just surfed on his wave, you know? Why not?
Whoa! I'm not going to be
like,
thrown under the bus here.
We have to find our feet. The other two were much better once we knew what we were doing.
Your favorite war, and the other one was your favorite torture method. Oh yeah, villains. That's right. Yeah. We didn't go that dark.
No,
it got a lot better. So anyway, this complaint is out of date already. Basically, we've solved it.
We've solved it.
Right.
Yeah, that one's solved. Good job,
next
everybody.
Letter. What you got? I mean, this is the podcast where we go over things we've already talked about, which is the essence of the podcast.
Yeah, that is really the root of the podcast. It's just rehashing old beefs and bringing back up old drama. It's like pulling a plow manually through a field of old beef and drama, right?
Well, you know what? That's interesting because we have an email here from Dan,
right?
That in fact talks about things we've spoken about before. Now, cast your mind.
Have we ever talked about Hooters before?
Yes, of course. I can't tell if you're joking or not. Multiple times, in fact.
Yes.
Okay, so here's Dan. Dear Pyrian Flax, in a semi-recent mailbag episode, one email you read stated that there were multiple podcast references that were not podcast references at all. Namely, that your backdoor spy neighbor and the bath plug story had never been introduced on the podcast, and that you must have introduced it while streaming. This person claimed authority by stating they had listened through all the podcasts, leaving you, Lewis, and Sips to discuss how confusing it all was, and that you had sadly been mistaken. I'm writing to tell you that this person could not have been more wrong.
Wow.
And that you have been gaslighted into believing you've been undertelling
this
stories.
This is like tennis now. We cannot have this. We cannot have the same. We cannot have every podcast going back and forth saying these. Sorry, like the mailbag sort of takes his back his episode, right?
No, he's saying that we were misled by a different letter. He's not.
No,
this
but
isn't
next
Takesie's
time we'll be
backsies.
reading out another thing saying he was we can't have
But
these
he's right.
misled
For example,
things.
episode 40 is literally called Backdoor Spy Neighbor. And you most certainly do introduce the topic for the first time. Sips introduced the bath plug story in episodes 99, 99.5, and 100. The person was wrong in their assertion.
All right. It's still an issue. It's an ongoing issue, the plug, still, if you can believe that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Update, bath plug update, question mark?
It's still ropey. I mean, it works most of the time, but every once in a while it doesn't work, and you gotta get a kitchen knife in there into the fucking murky water and hope for the best. And usually it turns out okay, but man, it sucks. I just need a new bath, I think.
Oh, man.
Yeah, maybe,
replace
you just need to unblock the pipes.
Yeah.
Pour something
Flush
down
out the
there.
pipes, yeah.
Talking about flushing out the pipes, I have an email here from Zara.
Right.
There's nothing to do with pipe flushing. I just
Professional pipe flusher.
Thank God.
I would chuck a segue in there that doesn't work and hope people didn't notice. Here's from
nobody
Zara.
did.
We spoke about Jehovah's Witnesses relatively recently.
Yes.
All right, so
How
here we
they've
go.
gone missing.
Right, so here you go. Hey guys,
It's got to be
This-
COVID, right? It's COVID related.
Would you like me to read the email?
No, I like to
Yes.
guess actually, and then not listen to anything, and then assume I'm right based on my
Well,
guess.
we don't know if
Exactly.
what they're sending us is evidence anyway. Next week, someone will write back saying the opposite, and then
Yeah.
we'll be back and forth.
This is
over
not the
next-
only email about Jehovah's Witnesses this week.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Okay, go hit me.
Hey guys, this got way longer than I meant for it to, so here's a brief TLDR. So I'm going to skip the TLDR because it is actually quite interesting. But I'll give it to you just to set it up. Jehovah's Witnesses are doing door-to-door preaching again. They are forced to do it,
Woo!
and not doing it can end up with you being punished by your congregation elders and shunned by the congregation. So
Right.
Shunned.
Jehovah's
Shun
Witnesses
him.
have come up in passing a couple of times in the podcast recently, more specifically door-to-door preaching. As an ex-Jehovah's Witness myself, I thought I'd email in with insight, which you may find interesting. And so, depending on your level of interest in cults, that's their choice of terminology.
Cults.
In short, they have started preaching again. They picked up last autumn after a 2.5-year-long hiatus, thanks to COVID. During lockdown, they
Yes.
mostly relied on sending letters and magazines. If they have not knocked on your door yet, then unless you're on a do not call list, it will most likely be because they haven't reached your part of town yet. JW congregations cover a particular area which is divided up into territories. They have maps of these territories, and their territory maps include every single street and building. As far as I'm aware, they've worked their way through them in order, so they probably just haven't reached your territory yet, or they missed you out by mistake, in which case, praise be. Perian said something about how he thought the absence of JWs was due to lack of interest in preaching. While it may be the case that people in younger generations aren't enthusiastic about as their elders, Lewis was right that they are essentially forced into it, so whether or not people enjoy it has little to do with it. I hated it when I was in, but still had to go to keep up appearances and prevent people asking questions. If you don't go out at least semi-regularly on the ministry, JWs will brand you as spiritually weak and a bad influence, which at best will cause them to treat you differently, and at worst can have you shunned by the entire congregation. So basically, you have no real choice.
Okay, but
There are
can you live a life just as like the, because it doesn't sound so bad being shunned, right? Like it saves a lot of work, and then you're just shunned. Like there's nothing worse than that. You turn up and people don't say, "Hey, Norm," like when you turn up to mass or whatever. Like they just like mumble. Or I can live with that if it means I don't have to go door to door.
Yeah, but you don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness.
True.
So you're kind of looking at it from your perspective
That's
as someone
true,
who doesn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
They're in there. They're in the
Right.
JW
But I mean, I've
club.
worked in offices before where people are quite happy being known as the guy who doesn't do any work and just sits around and doesn't do any work and is never
Yeah.
expected
Well,
to do any work.
But they get paid
right.
for that, right?
Okay.
They get shunned as well.
Here's the situation. I'm sure some Jehovah's Witnesses go out there, first knock on the door, convert, right? Others, thousands, and everyone's slamming the door in their face. They're getting bitten by dogs. You know, like they're getting lost. They're, being invited in for tea with an old lady, and they're in there for hours and hours, and they're trapped, and they're, locked in the basement, and they finally escape. Some Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm sure, go through the ringer and don't convert anyone. Others, maybe they're just naturally more charming. Maybe they're, maybe they've got, that little sales technique that works. Maybe they're like, I don't know, a hot younger woman who can bring in more Jehovah's Witnesses.
Whoa, with
I'm
the
sure
old,
that's the
what do they
thing,
call
right?
it? Flirty fishing.
Do they bring
flirty.
any food along with them or anything? Like, is there any incentive other than
Like Girl Scout
you're looking
cookies.
you're just looking for religion? Like,
What
they
do you-
don't
what do
bring
you mean?
anything.
What do you mean bring? What do you mean bring?
I don't know, like if they turn up at your door, like maybe they just have some cookies or something
Yeah.
with them that you could just be like, yeah, you know what? Actually, these are really good cookies. I might think about it. If you're just turning
if
up to the
old-
door with nothing, I'm
if
not
old
thinking about it
ladies
even.
went around door to door selling cakes, I'd buy a cake off an old church lady for the steeple.
So
or whatever.
I think
Do you know what I mean?
think
Handmade.
first of all, they're not looking for money. Second of all, I don't think it matters to them, essentially, if they convert you or not. Their mission is to spread the word, and then it's
Okay.
up to you.
Can
So
they
I
spread
think
the
it's
word
just
while
about-
they're doing some chores for you? Like if they turn up and you're like,
Ask
can you
'em.
help
Ask
me
'em.
with some garden work or
like
whatever?
mowing the lawn.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could be like, this bath plug is fucking killing me. Can you
Yeah.
get that sorted out?
Do you
Carry
have
on with
any-
your prattling.
Do you
and
have
I'm
any
gonna...
skills like in this
Oh, I
this
see
field?
what you're saying. So what
Yeah.
you're saying is if they actually provided a sort of service as well,
Or just
that was, like,
just a friendly
useful.
helping hand, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the church is sort of like the whole image
Like a
that they're
dust.
looking
Like
for
a
is like
dust.
the friendly helping hand. So like,
Well,
if these
I
guys are
wonder
turning
if,
up door to door, a friendly helping hand, please, or
Do you not think that
something to
perhaps
eat.
the Boy Scouts and the Girl Guides have usurped that? Because there was like, what do they call it? Bob a Job was a
Listen,
thing they
I
used to
can't
do.
remember the last time. I don't think this ever happened in the house that we live in now, where we've had door-to-door Girl Scout or Boy Scout cookie
No.
sales. We've never had a bottle drive. They never sell apples in the fall door to door. None of this stuff. I remember doing all of this stuff when I was a kid. I remember doing the apple drive. I remember doing the bottle drive. I remember helping people cross the road to get my badge for helping people cross. There's a whole badge for
Yeah,
just
yeah.
helping people across the road.
I saw
The
a map
easiest one.
actually that showed like how 3 generations of kids had grown up in the same house, and they showed like the areas that they wandered to, right, or played in, right, or
Right.
were allowed to play in, and the grandparents were like 3 miles out playing in a river. You know, the parents were like a mile out, you know, in town going to cinema
Yeah.
or doing on their own, and the kids were like the end of their road. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean, that
not
was like
even
where they were allowed.
inside playing
Yeah.
Minecraft. Yeah,
That was like because it's a different. It's really like
the world has
I think
shrunk a bit
we're
in
so
that sense.
we're so scared
Yeah.
of the world outside.
My kids don't play out. They play out in the
compared to what we
backyard,
were.
but no further.
And it's probably rightly so. I mean, probably a lot less kids are being abducted.
I
or
don't know who's
whatever,
out there. Yeah, that's the
trafficked.
thing.
God,
Jesus.
but
Man.
I'm joining in the fear. I don't know. I feel like, is it actually scarier out there than it was? But I think certainly you would be. I mean, if these days, if you were a parent and you let your kid play 3 miles away in a river, like
You don't think about it much
at age
until you
8 or
actually
whatever.
have kids, and then you think about it all the time. And
You'd be-
you think about the future as well, because I'm like, yeah, my kids are small now. I'm happy for them to play in the backyard as long as I can see them or whatever. I don't really want them wandering off. But as they get older and they do start going to like the cinema and town, and they start to go out drinking, and they have to find their way home at 2 a.m. after they've been drinking and stuff, you have to worry about all of this stuff all the time, forever.
You do have to worry,
Because
but
there are some real
are you
fucking
gonna stop
assholes out there.
are you going to stop
You
them
can't
from
stop
going
them,
out?
no, but
Right.
you can still worry about them all the
Of
damn time.
course, of course.
Well,
I'm sure
and it's
our
not just
parents
you,
worry.
right? It's other fucking people out there, like backdoor parenting you, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that."
Well, sure,
Well,
that's
you're
fine. I can
doing
ignore
that.
them quite
Yeah, I
happily,
don't give
but
a shit
at the
about
same
those
time,
assholes.
there are just some real cunts out there that you have
There
to.
are.
Your kids have got to stay away from them, even when
Well,
they become
sometimes your
adults.
kids
They're
are the
just some-
cunts, though, and you don't realize.
I don't know if it's
that might
more
be the
dangerous
case.
these days. I
Well,
don't know.
I hope that's not the case, but still, you know.
I don't know if it is more dangerous these days. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
if you
either.
know, if you're out there listening to this mailbag and you work in some kind of child protection thing, or you work in the police and you deal with this kind of stuff, let us know. Let us know. Is it more
I
dangerous or
look
not?
back to
We
my
don't know.
childhood though, and we wandered off miles. Man, we were playing
God,
in
me too.
creeks. We were like on
We
the
were
other
all
side
over
of
the
the
place.
town on our bikes. We didn't even have helmets on our bikes. We used to ride our bikes down the middle of the road with no hands and no helmet
Yeah.
and stuff.
We were idiots.
I don't know how I'm alive right now, because my parents would just be like, in the morning, they would unlock the front door and I would be out and then I'd come back when the streetlights came on. Like, it was insane. I don't know
Yeah,
how.
I was at like random other people's houses.
I did, me
like,
too.
Multiple.
Holy
like,
crap!
like,
We were just
hold on.
streets away.
sleeping at people's houses all the time.
Did any of us grow up in a really rough area?
No. I
No.
grew up in a middle class suburb, so
Right.
Me too,
So I
yeah.
think, I mean, other than when I lived in New York, where I was too young to go out by myself, it was Bournemouth. I mean, it's like all three of us grew up in a very safe area,
sure.
and I think most of pretty much most countries are going to be like that. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was living in central London, no, my kids aren't allowed out on their own at 11, and I doubt most parents do let their little kids out. When you go into central London, you don't see little kids on their own.
No,
do
of
you?
course not. No.
So I think it's easy to say we
Maybe
didn't have this
back
problem
in
when we
the
were younger,
day
but
of,
we all
like-
grew up in very safe places.
Like in
didn't
the
we?
Oliver Twist days, you did probably though.
Yeah,
to be
of course. Yeah, well, you saw them popping out of fucking chimneys, or for Christ's
Yeah,
sake.
that's it. Yeah.
We were back when it was dark, but we were often playing inside anyway at someone's house. You know, it wasn't like we were, you know, the Lost Boys or fucking I don't know, Stranger Things going into the upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
We
it
went to
was-
the upside
it was-
down in
it-
our
we were,
day, it
we were
was
still
no
playing
problem.
D&D.
Don't know what's happening to the
know.
upside down these days. It's gone topsy-turvy, isn't it? This is from Ashley. This is another JW, which is Jehovah's Witness, JW. Just to further, you were correct in assuming the COVID pandemic brought an end to this, XJW, blah, blah, blah. This is the interesting bit. Another interesting impact of COVID was that it changed their view of the internet. When I was growing up, the internet was an evil thing full of lies against the word of the true God, Jehovah. That's their words.
Right.
The pandemic caused a huge shift, with all the church meetings being held on Zoom or Skype. All the magazines were digital, and people generally being encouraged to connect with the rest of the congregation through the internet.
Right.
As the pandemic restrictions were ended, things have started going back to normal. However, they now live stream services to people who can't attend because of ill health and everything. So they went from the internet is wicked to shit, we've got no choice. The internet is wonderful, just because of COVID. So I thought that was quite interesting change.
Well, good for them. I'm
thank you,
glad that they've
Ashley.
accepted the internet finally. That's great.
I've got a Kraken email here.
What about the deep sea monster?
No, this is not about a deep sea monster.
He's
When
got
were-
an email
when were
from
we-
the Kraken. Period.
Oh, I get it.
I'm
Well done,
writing
Dad.
to you
Good
from
one.
the deep.
This is the sleeping great one, destroyer of worlds and dreams.
God of
I
the
email
sea.
you to talk about the recent Minecraft block episode from my lair in the Mariana Trench.
Look out, do not sail your boat today. You do not want to be out there.
I got together with Poseidon. We listened to it as usual. We were horrified that the crafting table was not included. Sorry, Kraken and Poseidon will
Go on,
work on
carry
that.
on then.
Fucking
All
hell.
right. This is this guy. The email says, "Good day, gents. Please don't name me due to security.
Okay.
You seem to like cool jobs. I am a crew commander for a satellite-based missile warning system.
Holy shit, that is a cool fucking job,
yeah,
man.
we're the first to know.
But
of an
that job
impending-
is so cool that you can't even really tell anyone that you
Well,
do it, though. That's
the
thing.
coolest kind of job. You
Well, you
can
can
feel very
anonymously.
cool.
I
yeah.
don't know, but I know you feel cool, but it is still kind of cool to just sort of icebreaker at a dinner party. What do you do? Oh, well, actually, I'm a satellite guided missile defense system operator. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, no, but
But I can't talk
but maybe
about it.
you just say I can't tell you for security reasons. You know, that's still a cool thing to say.
I think you just
yeah,
say
but then
I
when
work
people
in IT.
might assume that you're some sort of like ex-con or like maybe like a pedophile or something as well, right?
Exactly. Well, if
Right.
you're a nonce, you got to tell them, haven't you? That's the thing.
You don't
That's
have
the
to, though. I
legally
don't
required.
think, right? And I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about this, but in some places, even the registry is like you could eventually like come off of the register, which is insane to me. But
Well,
there you
sure.
go.
God.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of that Mr. Show sketch where this guy, Larry Cleast, is a rapist and he has court ordered. He has the guy walk around with him all the time. Rapist coming through. And he works in telesales for an insurance company. And he starts to go, "Hi, I'm Larry Cleast. I'm a rapist. Just wondered if you were interested in any insurance." Yeah, it's a great sketch. Look it
Oh,
up.
that is
Anyway.
good. Yeah. Holy shit.
So Jake says, we watch. So he says we're the first to know of an impending nuclear apocalypse. We also watch a lot of Netflix and draw dicks on the mission console. So there you go. That's it. Anyway, I want to
you
thank
guys-
Sips for his inspiring stories of having 3 kids. I have 2 kids, and I'm very excited to welcome my vasectomy to the family tomorrow.
Good. Don't do it. I mean, it's kind of fun, but like, holy crap, it's a lot of work too. 3.
Yeah.
They say 3 is company, and you know, I think that was more the case when it was John Ritter and those 2 girls he was living with or whatever. But like, if you imagine John Ritter as a 3-year-old child and the 2 girls he's living with as like a 5-year-old child and then a 7-year-old child, and then you have to look after them all day, it is too much company, I think. No,
There is such a thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
Who's John Ritter?
You never seen Three's Company?
No, dude.
All right.
Sorry, I think
Really?
I think that's an American thing. So American
Must be,
audience, well done. I'm sure
Sorry-
they got that.
sorry about
I
that.
don't know who that was. No, we have an international
Yeah,
audience.
if you
Feel
look up
free.
John Ritter, you'll know who he is. He was the dad.
I do recognize him.
This
I do
is a
recognize
safe
him.
space for old references.
He was
Yeah,
the
and
dad
also,
in 10 Things You Can't Do to My Daughter, or whatever that one was called. 10
Jesus.
Golden Rules about being with my
8 simple rules.
8 Simple Rules.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay,
Yeah. He was the
that
dad
one
in
you
that.
made it really dirty. All
Sorry,
of a
guys.
Well, there
sudden.
were rules for dating my daughter or whatever. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
so
Something like that.
that
Sorry.
did sound way worse.
Well, I've never even watched the show, okay? I just thought maybe you would know who he was from that.
I see. No, I'm sorry, I didn't. But
Okay.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No.
All right. This is a good one. This is from D. Tyrion, thought you might find this a cool story to share. Feel free to share it on the podcast. I used to work in the intelligence community in an office with no windows in a faraway suburb.
Wow.
When I had to travel for work, I used to scan the hotel room for bugs, just a force of habit. I put on Dota so the eavesdroppers had something to listen to while I searched. This time, I put on the Dota TDD playlist. I don't know what the TDD...
Team Double Dragon. It's
Right.
how-
Okay, sorry, the scrub test.
It's how
Yeah,
I've come
my bad. My bad. Long story short, well done. I found a bug. He found a bug when in a country on the eastern side of the world. My office called a few minutes after I found it and told me what they heard from their own devices from who planted the bug. They wanted to know, who's Dav? Is he a new contact? Who is this guy screaming at Dav? Is Dav in trouble? I had to explain it was the video I had on in the background. Suffice it to say, it endeared me to the tech team, who plays some Dota. The response teams not so much, as they were gearing up to save this guy called Dav.
Sorry, what?
Oh, that's
Sorry.
hilarious.
Sorry, this is unbelievable.
I know.
That there's a spy
They
being bugged
were
in a hotel room.
rushing to save Dav,
Yeah.
who is fine. So.
Dav was having
Oh,
some
thank
trouble. He
goodness.
was struggling in mid. He was about to get ganked, so they had to
Me just shout, Dav!
get down.
You're like,
He's got the
we got
Bible in
a
his
response team
pocket.
now. This guy Dav's in trouble.
Oh,
Wow,
shit.
I'm not sure I believe that one. That just sounds
It
too
sounds
much
too
out
good,
of
right?
too much Ian Fleming.
It's hilarious, though. It is hilarious.
This one is just entitled Triforce, Michael Bublé's Macbeth. The text reads, Bublé, Bublé, toil and trouble. That's all it said.
Don't laugh at that.
Well done, Harry.
Oh fucking hell! All right.
Well done, Harry. A good one. All right, do you want to hear this one? This is
Sure.
This is from Joseph, angry Wisconsin Triforce listener.
Right.
Good afternoon. Let me first say that I was very impressed by yours and Lewis's trivia knowledge of the Yogs channel stream this year. Well, thank you. I am 28 years old and have lived in many places for work and school, including Toronto, Bristol, Dublin, and now Wisconsin for 6 years.
Wow.
I personally think Wisconsin has been the most fun of them all.
Wow.
My
Okay.
city of Madison, the capital of Wisconsin, consistently ranks towards the top best places to live in the US. There is always something to do here. I understand that it doesn't have the beautiful seascapes views from a dad garage window that Jersey offers, but it's very enjoyable in its own right. What makes a place boring to live in for you guys? But mostly Sips, as he was talking the most shit. And then,
I mean,
also
I think
see attached.
everywhere is kind of boring to
there
live,
is
though.
well, before you answer, this might change your mind about responding, what kind of tone you want to bring to the response.
Right.
This is a screenshot from their partner who was equally angered by Sips' comments.
Right.
It's a picture of a series of filing cabinets. Kindly tell Sips I'm going to shove my Wisconsin filing cabinet up his ass.
Jesus. Holy crap! Why are you guys so defensive about Wisconsin? I'm just going by what I've heard other people say about Wisconsin. But I guess you guys really like Wisconsin. Well, I'm sorry. I did not mean to offend. I don't think anywhere is that great to live. It depends what you do, right? Like in those places. Like I have access to beaches. I never go. I have access to like tons of like fresh seafood restaurants. I never go. Like it's what you make of the place, right? And like the people that are in it and stuff. Like I don't think anywhere by default is like that fun to live in. It's how you make it.
Were you
fun.
shitting on Wisconsin, or was I? Is this like a Canadian thing that you, because it was over the border from you?
No.
Ottawa?
It wasn't anything like specific. I
Who
think.
was shitting on Wisconsin?
Well, this email is directed at Sip, so
Yeah, it must have been me.
It was him.
I probably was shitting on Wisconsin, but I mean, I've never even been, so I don't know.
I mean,
maybe it's awesome.
I thought it was. I just thought it was like. I thought it was in a different place. I thought it was like more on the north, well, I guess it is on the Canadian border, but I guess it's like not got a land border, has it? It's like one of these lake states. I thought it just got very cold. It was very homely. I thought it's very Fargo, but I guess it maybe
I
it
think it is all those things, but I don't know. I guess it's like awesome at the same time. I don't know.
You're not doubling down on your loathing of Wisconsin.
No, I mean, I know I'm not that invested, honestly. Like,
it was just a throwaway comment, right?
It's probably an interesting, nice place, like everywhere, with millions of people living there. So I guess it's got a variety.
Yeah.
It's known for dairy. It's the dairy state. Got a lot of cheese there.
It's where the that 70s show takes place in Wisconsin.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
America's heartland.
And it's also the state that Making a Murderer takes place in as well.
Oh.
Yeah. As in fact we mentioned when we talked about Wisconsin the first time. Yeah.
Right,
So
there is some Fargo-ness to the place.
I'd like to go. I think we should go.
Making a Murderer was kind of like a Fargo thing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I guess the way they spoke and everything, it was very similar. I don't
know.
Oh
yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Oh
yeah, it was a little bit like that.
Don't you try it, buddy, huh?
Listen, I'm sorry for shitting on Wisconsin. I didn't think anybody would take it so bad.
I think it's one of these places,
especially so bad to threaten to shove a filing cabinet up somebody's
big
ass
one. You didn't see the picture.
In retaliation,
a big one, buddy.
as well.
Yeah.
I'll mind my manners. I'll mind my mouth next time, okay? I won't shit on places that I've never been to and have no intention of ever going to either.
Fair.
I think it feels to me like it's one of those states that people would forget about when they were trying to name all 50 of the states. You know what I mean? I could be wrong.
Wisconsin.
But, do you know what I'm saying? Like, along with like Nebraska and Connecticut, and stuff like that. People
I feel like people forget about Connecticut quite often, right? Maybe Ohio as well. Although maybe maybe it is Ohio that people forget about. People maybe don't forget about Idaho as much because of the potatoes, but what's Ohio known for? And I'll guess Wisconsin's known for cheese. So maybe people will remember Wisconsin for the cheese.
Just for the cheese.
You got to have something. What about Pennsylvania? What are they known for?
Yeah.
Pencils? They just make pencils.
Just love pencils.
That's an underrated joke of the podcast.
Sorry.
Anyway. All right, here's one. This is from Jack. This may count as a warning to other listeners, so be ready. Was just catching up with a mailbag from a couple of weeks ago. Heard about the guy in a car accident while listening to Triforce. Me and my girlfriend were also in the middle of a 3-car pileup. Not our fault. The driver responsible plowed into the back of him because he was texting.
Jesus.
And they were listening to Triforce at the time as well. Got me wondering, how many road accidents have occurred while Triforce is being played within the car? Think the podcast is potentially bad luck for drivers.
It could be, yeah. But I mean, the thing is, there's so many car accidents. There's usually something on, right? The radio, or nowadays more so probably streaming some type of like podcast or whatever.
Yeah, but is that more or less distracting the music? I certainly could imagine our chat getting people riled up and angry.
Yeah.
Like
what the Wisconsin
judging by
guy.
Some of these mailbags.
The Wisconsin guy.
Wisconsin
just having like a rage blackout on the road. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, people. You can imagine like the rage building up. No, I don't know whether any of it. It must happen. It's just a matter of numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like car accidents. I always wonder how. Sometimes you see these like places, filled like graveyards filled with cars that have been involved in, write-offs basically, and there's just as far as the eye can see.
No,
you know?
that's it. Well, there's so many cars on the road, so I think just like on average, that's just where the most accidents take place, right? Like it's, they say like flying is the safest way to travel because there's like thousands of flights a day, but like how many people hop into a car and drive every day? Like fucking billions, right? So there is just going to be a lot of accidents, right? There's just more people doing it.
That's true.
Yeah. Please be careful. Drive.
Yeah, please drive
carefully and listen to the podcast carefully as well.
Yeah.
While you're driving.
I realize, we chuck out some pretty funny jokes and jokes.
I know. Yeah.
We don't want to cause any problems.
Yeah.
This is from Jay. Now, this guy recently quit his job, wants to remain anonymous.
Sure.
So I am going to remove the name of the shop that he's talking about because I think it could potentially be libelous otherwise.
Right, Jay from Tesco or whatever.
Well, no, it's
don't say Tesco.
No, it's not Tesco. Okay. I'm not going to say what shop it is.
Right.
They worked for this shop.
It's a retail. It's a retail
outlet. Yes, they sell things. I worked for this shop for around 5 years since I was a teenager, and these are some of the things I frequently witnessed. The staff are paid extra to work for brands, but won't tell the customers. If a guy is really pushing a Samsung or Philips TV, which are both shit, by the way, according to Jay, chances are he's an employee getting an hourly boost for selling those brands. Even if they're wearing a t-shirt with the brand of the store on it, they'll often say, no, I've just done training with them, or I'm the in-store expert, but most of the time they just wear a plain uniform. Multiple times a day, a customer will ask for a product that has a 100 to 200 pound barcode on it. If a colleague sees this and the customer doesn't, the colleague will always use that money to their advantage and tag on free stuff to the sale to get closer to their KPIs. When you're saying to yourself, wow, 3 free gold cables and a wall install, my friend, you have paid in full. They also use discounts to give you a first month or trial of the care plan, which literally covers nothing and is a direct debit that often runs for years without people noticing. Funnily enough, this shop is FDA regulated, meaning this type of activity is illegal, but when a mystery shopper comes in, they ask such blatantly obvious questions as, can you print me out a quote for the care plan? And since no one asked this, it's essentially impossible to get caught mis-selling. Managers encourage this as a warranty that covers nothing the original one doesn't cover, is extremely profitable and good for their bonuses. The delivery and installation guys have a target to be in and out of your house in 20 minutes. If you have something delivered and they convince you the bracket won't fit or there's an issue with installation, it's either because they can't be asked or they're behind target and have to rush anyway. And lastly, sadly, the staff no longer have any knowledge. Instead of being an expert on one section, the hiring scheme changed in favor of simple and compliant people. The staff have to work all over the store. They have shitty little iPads they can read off. There are knowledgeable brand reps that work in the stores, but sadly, they're being pushed out in favor of sponsored staff because it makes more money for them. If you do actually need help, do not go and talk to someone who doesn't want to speak to you and knows nothing about the issues you're having. Wow. I know this isn't relevant to any episode specifically, but I thought it was interesting. Wow. To get it off my chest.
No, it is interesting.
To me, this sounds like a conspiracy, but also just feeds into my paranoia about everyone, about corporate greed and everyone trying to take advantage of you. And but you can see how it's the case, right? Like, so these days, everything, you buy a TV, people... Who's buying a TV in a store? I don't know. I'm ordering that shit online usually, and or if I buy it in a store, I'll be looking up online to see how much it is online, and see if the prices match.
Well, I think a lot of people still do go in. Older people, I'd suggest. People my age and older will go into a shop because they kind of want to see it. You know what I mean? Also,
if you want something right now, that's true.
If you go to Costco, they've got tellies fucking everywhere. There's hundreds of tellies. They're enormous. And if you're a lucky person who can write off VAT, I guess you could probably claim the VAT back on it. But there's loads of places that sell TVs, and apparently people are buying them. We talked about Coca-Cola and Pepsi a while back.
Yeah.
Right.
This is from Amy. Currently listening to the Mailbag episode 9, wanted to comment on the Pepsi catalog of products. I work for a Coca-Cola bottler in Florida and thought you might find a few rules that they want us to follow interesting and funny. They're very intense about not supporting Pepsi or their line of products. For example, you're supposed to avoid restaurants that serve Pepsi.
Wow.
If you happen to find yourself at a restaurant that serves Pepsi, they'd rather you order a water or iced tea. Never walk into the office holding a Starbucks drink or a Gatorade sports drink. But it goes beyond drinks, it's also snacks foods. Frito-Lay is owned by Pepsi, so don't even think about having a bag of Doritos on your desk. I recently made this mistake with Sabra hummus for lunch, so even after 3 years, I'm still learning. Oh, and the Super Bowl is owned by Pepsi, so we refer to it as the big game. There's more madness, but I think you get the gist. I will say it's a pretty interesting and fun place to work, even with the eccentricities. Also, glad to hear you guys are Coke fans over Pepsi fans.
I don't know. It's like It's like just from being a kid. I think it's just we just had Coke in our house more than we had Pepsi, and I'm sure that's the same for a lot of different products, right? It's that brand association from when you're young. Like some people will only use Fairy Liquid. I'm
a Fairy Liquid main, but
Exactly,
Mrs. F has been buying this stuff. It's called like it's some kind of more environmentally friendly washing liquid.
Is it called Method?
Is Method and EcoVare is another one we use. We use those ones. I don't know if they're actually better, but
no,
I don't know. Either way,
I've tried to use those.
Amy also has a question. I have a question for you guys.
Right,
because
fine.
Florida is Florida, and the politics of the US are becoming too much. I'm strongly considering a move to Canada.
Okay.
I wanted to find out. She says if anyone has an opinion, but I'm assuming Sips, on Calgary, Alberta, or any tips on Canada living at all. I already know living above sea level and the winter will probably kill me, but no more than the heat in Florida already does. Any advice?
I think, okay, don't take this with a pinch of salt. I have not lived in Canada for like over 20 years. From what I hear, Alberta is kind of like the Texas of Canada, right? Like it is just a bit
redneck.
Well, that and just
Country.
some of the politics and stuff as well tend to lean heavily to the right. But I think BC is pretty good, which is just like one province over, and the East is, I think, all right. But again, I haven't lived there for so long, so I don't know. I've never like lived in Canada as a working mortgage having responsible adult. Like when I left when I was 23. And I just finished school and didn't even have a job or anything. So, you know what I mean? It's like I can kind of say which parts I've lived in that I haven't minded or whatever, and I've been to and what I've heard, but I don't have like I don't have like the solution really.
I think my tip is fucking just go there on holiday.
Well,
see if you like it. Stay there for a month,
yeah.
And if you fucking can't stand it because it is freezing cold, or
go there in winter. Go there in winter
and just see what it's like. Like you get a good feel for the place by living there.
They call them Chinook
moving
winds.
around there, because I think that as much as Florida is, I know
it's fucking Florida.
As much as it's Florida. You do know it.
I spent a lot of time in Florida, and I would get the fuck out if I would.
Right. Oh, okay. We got three different angles there.
Yeah, get the fuck out of
Boba
Florida.
wants to get the fuck out. Yeah.
This is a terrific email that I've just received. This is this is for Sips, basically.
Okay. I'm guessing it's terrific because somebody is going to call me out on something, right?
Oh yeah.
Great.
It's very funny. Hi, Pyrian and Lewis. Hi, Pyrian and Lewis.
Oh, gosh.
It was great to hear you talk so positively about Bristol Zoo and Wild Place at the end of Triforce episode 225. I work there. It's fantastic. A few years ago, I was manning the door selling tickets when that large Canadian bloke you work with wandered up to my window. My manager was next to me, so I didn't mention the negligible size of my penis, but I did say hi and identified myself as a fan and Twitch sub. As part of the transaction, I asked if he'd like to pay 10% additional as gift aid. Not only does this money go directly to supporting various charities, but it's also what my monthly bonus is based on.
I didn't know that.
This was refused because of tax reasons. I've now cancelled my Twitch sub. This is a two-way street, bozo.
Oh,
no.
Fine.
Okay, first of all, if anyone asks me to pay 10% extra for some
don't
bullshit,
pay that
I'm
shit.
not paying that.
It's a scam. And if your bonus is linked into it, I would really question, is that a great place to work? That sounds like shit to me, but
gift
whatever.
aid, you just have to give your address. It's tax relief when you give to a charity. It's nothing to do with paying extra for gift aid.
What is this tax shit? There's no way that I went up to somebody in real life and said, I'm not paying that for tax reasons. I've never ever done that. I'm sure I never have.
Direct quote. It's literally in quotation
I think you might have said that as a joke.
Oh, maybe I did. Yeah.
I just love the way he says this is a two-way street, bozo.
Fuck, that's hilarious.
I thought that was fucking funny.
Hey, listen. Well, I didn't know that it was that you were like on a commission for it. If I'd known, I might have considered it. But I hate that shit. I hate the when they ask you for extra, like at the point of sale, right? Like
I remember when you came to Bristol Zoo when your son was pretty young, and you spent like 2 or 3 hours there, but it was entirely on the toy in front of the zoo.
Yes.
So that was like a rideable
That's
dog
such a 2-year-old thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
really.
we went to the zoo. I had a great time. I rode a ride.
Yeah, we
for
paid
2
full
hours.
admission and we didn't step foot in it because we were playing with the Thomas the Tank Engine toy up front the whole time.
Those things honestly must be just a goldmine if you put them in the right place, because kids always want to ride them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been called out a lot on the old podcast today. First, the Wisconsin guy.
What's the other one? Oh, well, I mean, what can I do? You know, you throw these opinions out there.
I'm chucking them out left, right, and center.
He hates charity. He hates Wisconsin.
He
What
hates
next?
the Jehovah Witnesses. He wishes they would bring cookies by.
Just a hateful guy. All right.
Yeah,
All right, here we go.
Full of hatred.
This is a good one. This is from Ben. Hey guys, I had a funny little story I thought you might enjoy. I was catching up on the CSGO Jingle Jam stream, which was me and Spiff did that, and my 2-year-old was napping on my chest. After a while, she woke up and said, "Oh, I see you, egg." A certain Triforce member was on the screen at the time, but in disbelief, I looked around for an egg or egg-shaped object in the room. I tried pointing at Pyrion's head and asking if that was the egg, but she ran off to find her mum. A minute later, she had dragged my wife into the room, pointed at Pyrion on the screen, and said, "I want egg."
Nice.
Right.
So there you go.
Nice. That's nice.
That is quite. She's gonna grow up to be a sassy one.
She's going to be a subscriber in no time with that.
Yeah.
attitude.
Oh my god.
I want egg.
This is from Ben. This is something else. Okay.
Right.
Hey guys, I live in Japan, but hate anime. That's in brackets. Okay.
Of course.
As an English
Right.
teacher, I thought I would share an experience from one of my first days as a teacher in a primary school. I taught a class and was moving from one classroom to the next. I noticed that one of the students was following me. I thought nothing of it. It's quite common to get swarmed by the students as they're excited to see a foreigner in their school. I noticed, however, this kid had been waiting for me to move past his classroom at the end of each of my classes. He also followed me around at lunchtime. Was only until cleaning time, which is a period after lunch where the students and the teacher clean the school, I think that's great, that I found out his true intentions. As I was sweeping the wooden floor in one of the classrooms, I felt what I can only be described as a sudden penetrating force that hit my arse crack so hard I thought my pants had broken. I turned around to see this kid laughing as he just shoved his index and middle finger up my bum. I smashed my broom I had in my hand on the floor, Gandalf style, and shouted, "No!" The kid fell down on the ground and cried. The homeroom teacher stepped in and pulled me aside to say the kid meant no harm, and shoving his fingers up my arse was all part of a game in Japan that they play called Kanchō. I now work in a high school, but for the first 4 years of being in Japan, I had to be on Kanchō alert daily.
What the hell?
Kanchō?
Can
anyone look that up?
This is true. Yeah,
Oh my
I've seen this
God.
before. It's always accompanied by like a sort of the specific sort of sound when you sort of see it.
What is it, like a wedgie? It's like the equivalent of like you're giving somebody a wedgie, but
It's very much like a wedgie, yeah. But it's almost like a wet willy or something, I guess. Except it's like you poke them in the ass. I don't think it's supposed to go.
You like poke them up the ass.
Yeah, like right up the butt.
Like right up
I think
there.
but like fully clothed, so it's kind of like this.
So if somebody does that to you, you get home and you might have like just like a tiny bit of shit like on your underpants because they've gone into your ass.
So
Well, I don't know how.
here is the wiki article on Kanchō. Kanchō is a prank performed by clasping the hands together in the shape of an imaginary gun. So imagine if you put your palms together and then get those other fingers back. So you just got those. Then you poke an unsuspecting victim's anus while exclaiming, "Kanchō!" It is a common prank among children in East Asian countries such as Japan. In Korea, it's called dongchim. In
Right.
China, it's properly called, I'm going to mispronounce this, Hyanyansha. which was
Right.
derived from the jutsu technique in the manga and anime series Naruto, in which it is known as Sennen Goroshi, meaning 1,000 years of death. The word Kanchō is a slang.
1,000 years of
1,000
death.
years of death.
You say that as you poke someone in the
1,000
ass.
years of death. That's great.
Jesus
The word
Christ.
Kanchō is a slang adoption of the Japanese word for enema, Kanchō. In accordance with widespread practice, the word is generally written in katakana
Sure.
when used in its slang and in kanji when used for enemas in the medical sense. In English-speaking countries, the term goosing generally refers to a comparatively mild grabbing of the buttocks with the tips of the fingers in the imitation of a harmless bite on the butt from a goose. But Kanchō takes it to another level, I'm going to say. Holy shit.
Yeah,
What
I don't
next?
think it's not supposed to be super violent. It's supposed to be like it's. I think it's seen as like fairly. I guess it is like a wedgie, right? It's like a kind of. You could imagine it being like a bullying thing, but also being
What about a nuclear wedgie though?
infiltrated society in a semi-harmless way. But
Can
it is
you have
weird.
can you have degrees of Kanchō? Like
I have
could you
no idea.
could you have a nuclear Kanchō like you can a wedgie? So that you
It's-
basically like I guess fisting somebody in the anus as
It's
as a
definitely
joke.
not okay. We should stop this. Kanchō should be shut down. But
You want to
people-
shut it down?
I bet you there's going to be a fervent group of like hardcore Kanchō lovers who
Yes.
are obsessed with it. Though.
Yeah.
And it's a fetish,
want-
and they're going to be like on the right, the alt-right Kanchō fans. Like,
Yeah.
you can't stop me doing Kanchō. All these woke modern millennials coming in saying I can't finger someone's butthole. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I've been fingering people's buttholes for years. It's part of my culture. Fuck
It's my
you.
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of this weird stuff in Japan, though. You've been Sips.
Yeah, I
and
never
I've-
had that done to me. To be
No,
honest, though,
but you've seen loads of weird shit.
I have
like
seen
that,
some weird shit. In
so
Japan,
that just
yeah.
fits in with all the other weird shit just
Yeah.
fine.
It is a
I'm
weird
gonna-
place. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to skip this one from Clark because he's just having a go at Sips, having a go at Wisconsin again.
Oh,
So
go
we'll
on!
skip
I
it.
want to hear this.
No,
All right,
I don't
Come
know
on,
you don't.
please.
All right.
Did you read these ones and then we all go quiet and it's like stressful?
No, I want to take it in. I want to see. I kind of enjoy the Wisconsin Defense Force. It's nice.
All right. I'm sending you boys season's greetings up from the cheesehead state of Wisconsin. He said read it in a Midwest accent, but I don't really know what that sounds
It's like a
really.
Fargo one, I think.
I'm sending you boys season's greetings from the cheesehead state of Wisconsin. That's a bit more Canadian, I think.
Yeah.
Which is a state, according to Sips, in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Apparently, permanently stuck in the 70s, which is rich coming from a Canadian and now lives in Jersey. Anyways,
My God, why do you guys get so offended by this?
Listen.
Like, I'll take you can insult Canada and Jersey all day. Like,
yeah, you're
it's
not going to
fine.
email them, are you?
No.
Sure, kid.
Okay, anyway, carry
Anyway,
on.
that's it. The rest of the email
Oh,
just
that's
peters
it.
out. Yeah,
All right.
Oh,
that's why I
all
was
right,
going to
well,
skip it.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad we got that. I'm glad we got that off our chest.
He was just correcting our pronunciation of Manitowoc. Apparently, we say it wrong. So I mean,
What is it? Manitoba? Manitoba.
Manitowoc.
Oh,
Manitowoc.
Manitoba.
Or
Well, how do you
something like
pronounce it?
Manitowoc.
Manitoba.
Yeah.
What?
This is
All
from Rob. I thought I'd give some otherwise useless insight about working outdoors. I work in construction, and I can tell you, working in the heat is far worse than working in the cold. On many work sites, there's no escaping the heat. At one of my previous jobs, bear in mind this lad's in Australia. I should
Yeah.
just mention that.
Yeah.
At one of my previous jobs, sometimes you'd get sent to a site that is literally bare. No trees, no buildings, no shade. And if you're particularly unlucky, one giant foundation slab of concrete just reflecting all that heat back up at you. When it's cold, it's not so bad. You rug up. Oh, I like that phrase. Rug up. And as you get into it, it's quite refreshing once you begin to get warmed up. There's nothing nicer than a cool winter morning, even if there's a slight drizzle. The real killer, aside from the sun, however, is mud. And if you
Oh.
paid attention to Australian weather, it's been crazy wet the last couple of years. I'm talking rain more weeks than not and extremely heavy downpours, maybe once a month. Even through the hotter months, and the warmth doesn't make it much better. However, if you're lucky, the site will have adequate drainage and other measures to deal with the mud. Aside from that, waiting for the rain to pass can be a little boring, but a couple of darts and browsing Reddit gets you through most of it. If you're lucky, the boss will just call it and let you go home early, or tell you you get this done and you can go home, which isn't so bad if you can smash out some tasks for half an hour in a downpour, then jump straight in a hot shower once you get home. The real kicker is if you work in a union, this lad doesn't. These lads get it real easy if it rains. Rain drops, work stops, as they say. I've heard a union rep will hold a cigarette paper out, and if more than 3 drops of rain land on it, they'll call everyone out. One bloke, a plumber, told me he worked a union site where a pipe had broken, was submerged in a foot of muddy water, and it was pouring down. The union rep told the site manager he'd let the plumber fix it, but he had to go home immediately afterwards and be paid double time. My guy got to go home at 9 in the morning and earn 2 days pay for working a few hours.
Holy
anyway,
shit.
Thanks for the many entertaining hours. You're welcome. Thank you, Rob.
Man, I would...
That sounds like a good... Unions are great, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's
got to be a place in the world where working outside on construction or whatever year round is like not too bad, right? Like there's got to be somewhere where the weather is just like mild enough for it to not be bad either way. But I guess there's always going to be a couple of weeks of rough weather no matter what, right? Like even over here, it's mild pretty much all year round. But in the summer, for a couple of weeks, it'll get like unbearably hot. But then in the winter, sometimes it'll get not unbearably cold, but it'll get colder. But it's only ever for like a couple of weeks, and then it evens out again. But it's all the rain over here. Fuck, I'd hate that. I'd hate working outside in the rain. Like just get it. You just feel so miserable when you're all wet and outside, you know?
Well, I guess, I mean, the guy's saying, you know, it's obviously you'd like it to just be a nice plain day, but I mean, geez, when you see, you know, when it was really hot last summer or the summer before, can you imagine just having to do physical labor in that heat all fucking day?
I can't imagine doing physical labor anytime. It doesn't matter what's happening outside. But yeah, combined with heat, no thanks. Like it's just
too much.
I just burn immediately. I'm not one of these people who has the right complexion for, like, you know, some people go out in the sun and they just like they tan and they look great. That's not me. I just go red. Yeah.
Do you think that's a Canadian thing? What's your family background is Polish, right?
No, Hungarian.
Sorry. So
I guess I don't know.
I didn't think they were people that burned in the sun.
No.
You got anything else mixed in there?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I know. It's like it's a very typical North American thing, right? Like you're 1/8 everything. It's just a mixing pot.
Fair enough. All right, just can we finish this with a counterpoint email?
Right.
Yes.
So is this somebody agreeing with my opinion on Wisconsin or no?
I haven't got there yet. I will look through the rest of the mailbag and see if anything like that pops up. I'll do that for next time, okay? So this is from Crabstack is the name they've gone by. Crabstack is clearly an active Jehovah's Witness. So just to be fair, let's give their version of events.
Sure.
Right.
You have spoken a few times in recent episodes about Jehovah's Witnesses, and I thought I'd share what is actually happening. So bear in mind, this is from their perspective.
Sure.
The pandemic may have slowed us for a short time, but it also allowed us to adapt our approach, opening more time for other avenues of preaching, such as writing letters or making phone calls.
Right.
However, we have now resumed door-to-door preaching. We aren't forced to do anything, nor are we paid, but our desire to preach is based off Jesus' commandment that this good news of the kingdom will be preached in all the inhabited earth for a witness to all the nations. Okay. This preaching is now being done all over the globe in well over 100 languages and is the largest preaching campaign in the world, all based off our understanding of the Bible's message. Contrary to what a lot of people think, our preaching is not about seeing a return in our efforts or what results we can derive. We spread a message of hope for the future. See, like I said, they just have to get the message out there. That's it.
Right.
They don't have to tick any boxes.
And would they consider doing maybe some odd jobs while they're there, or bringing cookies, or maybe...
Let us know, Crabstack. So, in essence, Crabstack's take on Jehovah's Witnessing is completely different from the former Jehovah's Witnesses that emailed in. So I would say you will have to draw your own conclusions.
I mean, I think always religion are... They're coming from a place of good, right? It's not like they're somehow the work doing the devil's work. They believe that they're helping us by saving our souls or letting us know that this thing that we don't know. I think that's the point, is that they've got this reading of something. It's almost like Pascal's wager, right? You know, Pascal's wager is a very classic idea that why not believe in God, right? Because the downside is eternal hell and damnation.
Right.
Whereas you might as well believe in him, because all you have to do is put a quid in the church once a week and spend some time with some old folks. And, you know, it's not a lot of work really to go and pray a little bit, just to avoid the risk of eternal hellfire. And so I always, when I look at religious people, understand that they're coming from a place of they were brought up in that community, that they're brainwashed in a sense, but they're trapped, right? All of their family and friends and relatives and place where they live, they have to be in that community, and they can't not do it. And the cost of it is too high. It's not just the risk of eternal damnation and all the other negative things that the church tells you it'll be, but it's being alienated by your family and friends or spouse or whatever. Like you kind of
Shunned.
have, you're kind of trapped.
You might
in
be
it.
shunned.
And so I feel sorry for people who are trapped in it, who are rational but can't, screaming inside. But maybe it is also a nice thing to do. Gets you out there, walking around, banging on people's doors, meeting some interesting people. Maybe it's a good life. And so if you're doing it, I love you regardless.
I'm interested to know, as somebody who is active in that field, though, what would you say generally is your reception of people when you knock on their door? And
do you ever get people who on the spot go, "This sounds great"?
They must get some, but I think that the majority of people are fairly dismissive. I could be wrong. Well, I'm just assuming
then again,
that they
it's
are.
like fortune telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or any of this stuff. What you're doing is you're exploiting the ignorant and the vulnerable. The people who you trap into your religion and suck in are people who are at their lowest point or weak or are unable to resist. You're preying on the ignorant and the and in a sense, maybe you're saving them. Maybe someone is having a really bad mental health day and they need something to do. And I'm sure in some ways, maybe what you're doing can be seen as positive, and in ways that doing anything, maybe a car crash is positive for someone because, that really changed my life around after I had that car crash. I stopped drinking. I stopped doing all these things.
Stop listening to the Triforce podcast.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
it's too much of a liability.
You can couch anything in positive and negative ways.
It's true.
But I think overall, my feeling is that rational thought is surely a better thing. But maybe I'm wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong. And you guys do you.
Well, I'm a pretty rational person, but I think everybody has their pitfalls. I watch The Apprentice every week, so there you go.
It's true.
Don't let other people tell you what to do. Don't let me tell you what to do. If you're happy doing what you're doing, knocking on people's doors, or you've got a life that you're content and you found contentment in, I'm happy for you, and I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to anti-convert you from religion. If religion is a big part of your life and it makes you happy,
it does sound like you're trying to anti-convert.
If not, get rid of it. If you don't like living in Florida, fucking move. Do you know what I mean? If you're sick of it, if you need to make a change, start making a change.
Yeah, you got to look at the man in the mirror and you got to make that change.
Go and have a look around.
It's got to feel good.
Why not Wisconsin?
Come on.
Wisconsin. We've heard that Florida person who emailed in earlier. Check out Wisconsin. Apparently, it's lovely. Lots of folks written in. They'll take you.
Best place he's ever lived. 6 years running, I think he said. So
yeah, so
it's probably pretty good.
Maybe we should go.
maybe it'd be funny if after all this shit talking of Wisconsin, I went there, enjoyed it, and then moved there, and
that would be quite a turnaround.
Lived out the rest of my life.
The rest of your life happy. So yeah, that's all I want.
As a happy Wisconian, is that what they're Wisconsinite?
A Wiscunt.
A Wisconian. A Wisconsinian.
Yes. All right. Well, that's that. Thank you. That's a mailbag. We did it.
We fucking did it.
Holy crap.
We love you. And we want you to be happy.
Yeah, and also can I say as well that my opinions on things that I don't know much about, I apologize. If they offend you, I am sorry. Genuinely, I am sorry.
We've never pitched this as a place of expertise.
No, and to the guy that I didn't pay the gift aid to, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
It's a tax issue. It's a tax issue.
And to everyone we've offended or irritated, it's not our modus operandi, really. We don't want to.
Man, I'm so sorry.
We don't want to. We care. We care. Fuck.
Too
All right,
late.
fine. Do you know what? From now on, though, I'm going to be unapologetic. I'm not going to give a shit. That's it. You've had my warning and my disclaimer. Now I'm just going to say what I fucking want. All right.
Nice. That's it. Do it.
I'm free now.
He's free.
Right.
Okay.
He's free.
Well,
fuck.
It's a two-way street, Bozo. We're going to have to shut this podcast down.
All right, bozos. Oh man. God damn.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone that emailed in. Obviously, I didn't read all of them out. Sometimes I have to clip some bits off them because it just sort of gets into talking about Shadow of fucking Israfel, and I'm not going to read that out every time.
No,
but
I don't expect you to. Not knowing what it
I
is.
try to read out the ones that are interesting. So we do get a lot of really genuinely nice emails saying you guys have helped. A
I
lot
can
and all
see
that,
why
so
people
thank
prefer the
you.
mailbag to the normal episode.
It's good. It's
You
good.
can't
I like
say
the mailbag.
that. We got to do the normal episodes, right?
This is great. I laughed a lot in this, though. It's just a good
You
one.
don't laugh
It's
a lot
nice.
in the normal ones?
I laugh about
He
as much.
hates the normal ones. This
He
is
hates-
new Lewis, Sips. He tells it like it is.
20,
He doesn't give a fuck.
2023 strikes again.
All right, we're going.
All right.
Love
All
you,
right.
everyone.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.